Okay. Uh, 809. Definitely looks like it will be a light crowd, but a crowd is a crowd, and that's all right with me. So, welcome you guys to week 2 of our second cycle. I don't really have many announcements. I don't want to let things get pretty monotonous, but at the same time, I don't have any news for you guys. So, thank you guys for being here. Hope this is a nice break in your day because I think we all need it. But as always, I will hand it off to Poker Pro and Resident, Cole Griffith.
All right.
Do you enjoy that title that I call you, or do you wish for something else?
Oh, it's all good. I like it. All right, let's see. I have a hand to go over, but because Discord is weird, it won't let me send bigger bigger videos. So I'm trying to see if I can
you should be able to share it on our Discord. And let me just check.
Well, I can send up to 8 megabytes or something.
Oh, is my boost only good for 8? Yeah, you're right. Need a
all right. Well, here, this is what I'll do. I will just pull up the calculator thing. All right. Don't like not Google Chrome.
That's a mood.
All right. So this hand is it's 1-2, but there's a straddle on, so it's 1-2-4. And I am under the gun +1 with ace of diamonds, king of clubs. And then, so I open to $10. And so normally in cash games, I do 3x. But then in straddle pots, I like to do 2.5x, kind of as my standard size. And this just kind of controls the size of the pot, especially because I start the hand with 180 in my stack. So, pretty short for effectively a $4 big blind. But I've got ace king. The button calls, and then the straddler calls. The button, I know, is I see them play on this app more than anyone else, and they're a pretty strong player, pretty regular player. And then the guy who's in the straddle, he does pretty well. I don't think he's actually that good. I think he's just been running hot. He plays a lot of crazy hands. I saw him win this massive pot with 3-5 suited and a 3-bet pot, and he flopped 2 pair against aces and kings. So one strong player, one kind of crazier player. Flop comes king 6-2 with 2 hearts, the king of hearts and the 6 of hearts. So obviously very good flop for my hand. And so it's important to, so kind of what I want everyone to realize in this hand is that it's important to go for thin value, and it's important to think about what you would do when you were bluffing in this scenario. So that's not as important until the turn. But basically, the straddler checks to me. I bet 17 into 33. So basically half pot size bet. Basically to charge the draws. I'm going to do this with a super wide variety of hands. Just because, I'm the pre-flop aggressor. I have the range advantage. The button, who's the stronger player, calls, and the straddler folds. So now there's $67 in the pot. I have 153 in my stack. And I am the effective stack, just meaning that the other player has more than me. And the turn is the 10 of spades. And so now is when you want to think about like what you want to be doing with your flush draws, and which is going to be like your most obvious bluffs. And then, wait, did I tell you what the turn card was?
10 of spades.
Yeah, 10 of spades. And then also Queen Jack. I would probably either have Queen Jack of clubs or Queen Jack of hearts in this hand. I wouldn't just be c-betting any Queen Jack just because we went three ways. Generally, you got to be a little more careful when you're multi-way in pots rather than your heads up. You can't just like blindly c-bet as much. But anyway, if I did have Queen Jack, a 10 is a really good card for me. I pick up a ton of equity. So I go ahead and bet 39 into 67. So I actually could have gone. I could have gone a little bigger here. I could have gone like 45. But it's not that big of a difference. But the point is, I'm betting more than half pot. I'm sizing up a little bit, basically, which is what I'm going to want to do with my flush draws to maximize fold equity. And also a really important thing to note is that leaves me with 114 in my stack. And on the river, there's going to be something like 130 or 140, something in that range, 140 something in the pot. So my shove will be like around quarters pot. Which basically, if I'm triple barreling with hearts, I want to set it up so like it's a significant river shove. Like you don't want to get to the river. Let's say you bet like 50 on the turn, and then you have like $80 left in your stack, and there's like 180 in the pot. People don't really fold the river for like small sizings, so it's important to like think about like future streets. And obviously here I am value betting, but it's important to just be thinking about like what you would be setting up if you were bluffing. And then, so he calls pretty quickly. He like snap called, which I thought was kind of weird, which kind of made me think he had a draw. And then, so the river was the 8 of spades. So like pretty much a brick to the board. So now the draws brick out, and I shove 114 into 145, which, is what I would be doing some of the time if I had a flush draw or turn the straight draw. But it is really important to remember that you also need to be doing it when you actually have like ace king. Like a lot of people, they'll get to the river, they'll have 114 in their stack. There'll be $145 in the middle. And then they'll just be like, oh, it's just top pair. That's enough. Like, I don't want to put any more money in. Like, what if he has a set or something? But, your bluffs, you're not really going to shut down with your bluffs because that like queen high flush draw, like queen high is not going to win at showdown. So you have to bluff. So it's important to include more hands in your value shoving range, which allows you to bluff more. Basically, the less bluffs you have, or the less value hands you have on the river, the less bluffs you can have to like mathematically be profitable in that spot. So it's really important to include hands like ace king and king queen in these spots for value when the board runs out like relatively safe. Like this guy's never going to have like 7-9. I guess he could have 7-9 of hearts exactly. But is 7-9 suited really going to be calling my like under the gun one open? Probably not. Some guys definitely will call with that type of hand, but like I said, this guy is a much more solid player. He's not going to be splashing around as much. But anyway, he calls pretty quickly, and he had king queen without a heart. And after the hand, he said he was like so sure that I was on a heart draw the entire time. So, like a little bit of a cooler for him. Um, but it kind of goes to show that like you need to be consistent with your sizings for value and for bluffing. And basically, like I was totally targeting like king queen or king jack to call me on that river, or even maybe he hero calls with a hand like pocket jacks that didn't 3-bet pre-flop, or maybe he has like jack 10 of hearts or something. Um, but basically, it's really important to go for the thin value. You can't always be afraid of like king 10. That's like the most likely two pair. If he has king 10, you're gonna lose this hand. But there's like way more hands that you can be bluffing with, and a bunch of hands that he can call you down thinking he's beating your bluff. But this was a pretty sizable pot that ended up going my way. I just skipped out of it. But yeah, he had king.
Remind me what your opponent had again.
King queen offsuit without a heart.
Okay.
Gotcha. So in his shoes, I would call with king queen also.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the exact same reasons that I'm saying.
Next best thing to top pair, top kicker is just top pair, second kicker. So
yeah. Basically, like he's never gonna have a stronger king there than king queen because he's always gonna 3-bet ace king, or pretty much always. But he could maybe start folding like king queen with the queen of hearts, just because then he blocks like so many of my bluffing combos. Like if you think about it, hands that I'm opening from under the gun 1 that are going to be 2 hearts, if he has the queen of hearts, are like ace jack of hearts and ace 10 of hearts. And I might decide like not to bluff with ace 10 of hearts because like that's a pair, and a lot of times you don't necessarily want to bluff with a pair, especially when like you might be good because draws missed, even though you block a lot of the draws, and that sort of thing. So I think you could definitely get away if you had king queen offsuit with the queen of hearts, or like king jack offsuit with the jack of hearts. You could probably get away. But like, are there any questions about that hand? How many people do we have in the call today?
We've got 8. I think we're all, including us. I think I'll take their silence as pretty affirmative of they knew what was going on.
And it's always important to remember that people would much rather call the river than fold the river. So like if you can think of some hands, like if there's like several combos that'll definitely call you on the river and like very few that are beating you, then it's definitely really important to go for value. Like any of the hands that are beating me on this board, I should have heard from earlier, just because they would want to protect against the flush draw usually. Like if my opponent had a set of 6s, which is like the most likely hand that he has that would be beating me, is probably going to like raise the flop for the exact same reasons as like a flush draw would raise the flop a good portion of the time, and to protect against the possible flush draw that I would have.
Actually, I had a question. So you mentioned you had top pair, top kicker. You feel pretty darn confident. Mainly you're losing to a 2 pair that got there or a set. What do you feel that your equity was after the flop?
Like, so after I get called on the flop, basically my opponent is going to have a hand like jack 10 of hearts, put those away, or a queen jack of hearts possibly, ace jack of hearts, ace 10 of hearts.
Okay, that was your worst case scenario that you were expecting. Gotcha.
Yeah, so yeah, if they have one of these hands, as you can see, like the equity is still pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's really important to remember. Like he can definitely like I could show him ace king and he should still call the $17 that I bet on the flop, because it was like 17 to win like 65 or something, which obviously you're getting the right pot odds. And then, so like his specific hand, this is kind of like best case scenario for me is when he has the king, queen, both black cards. Because as you can see, he's drawing very, very slim. And so it's kind of nice not having the ace of hearts here. Because that means he has more like ace high flush draws. Like a lot of people will call like any suited ace. This guy I think was a little tighter than that, but like some people, they'll show up like you can literally give them a combo for any of these suited aces. As you can see, if he has the pair also, he gets a few more points of equity.
Okay.
But I don't know, like worst case scenario, worst case scenario, he has a set of sixes and we're screwed. But really worst case scenario, we have like 60 something % equity.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. The only other big hand I got in today was I had kings. I 3-bet and a guy 4-bet shoved with ace king. And thankfully we ran it twice because he had an ace on the very first card out. So we chopped a very large pot. That would have been very nice. It was like the third hand I sat down. I would have like instantly doubled up. But instead I was like happy to chop because he hit an ace immediately. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of just scrolling through right now to see if I have any more interesting hands. I didn't get in very many big hands today. I had a lot of like just, like small pots. I had this one hand where I opened on the button with like 5-8 suited or something. Folded to me. I opened on the button with 5-8 suited and the flop came like ace 7-7 rainbow. And this guy like donk let into me for $4 into like 15. And he was definitely one that I considered a bit of a weaker player. So, like when you notice someone do something weird, super weird, you can't do this too often. But basically I called just like a straight float, and then he checked the turn and I bet like half pot, which was like $11 on the turn. And he just folded. So it's important to be like kind of paying attention to your opponent's tendencies. Like if they are just randomly like donk betting, which means like betting
Hunting
into the pot when you're not like the pre-flop aggressor, to try to like steal pots. You can pick up on that, and like I called with like absolutely nothing, like 8 high, and then I was just able to take it away on the turn. It's very important to have like multi-street plans in poker, because your bluff, like if you raise on the flop, unless they were just c-betting with nothing, like it's rarely going to go through. They're usually going to have something. There's usually going to be some draws. They're going to feel like obligated to call most of the time. So you got to be like thinking about your stack, and then thinking about like stack to pot ratio the whole time is really important, which I kind of illustrated in that first hand I talked about with ace king. But I don't know. Are there any questions from the peanut gallery over here? All your red muted mics. Josh is the one that would have had like 7-9 of clubs and river to gut shot on me in that hand, with like negative equity and just gotten there. And then I would have been
because I'm a maniac.
Yes.
You should always expect the unexpected.
Yes. Yeah, if that guy had flipped over 7-9, I would have been very sad in that hand. But
yeah,
don't be afraid of the monsters in the closet.
That is, I think, and I'll be an open book here. I think that is one of my biggest weaknesses in poker. That say I'm up against you, Cole, or I think Warren's bullied me like this, but I'll always assume the worst.
If you have like queen high or something, just call Warren. Just call. Okay. Queen high probably qualifies against Warren on the river.
Yeah, there's plenty of people I think that like I've played friendly friendly games with, and I've definitely lost plenty of money to them. Like I said, the higher you are as an officer, the worse at poker you are. But Cole's actually breaking that tradition. So,
Oh, I have an announcement. If anyone wants to go to Harrah's Casino, or what's the other one over there, like Cherokee or something, I'm going to be going sometime in the next 3 weeks or something. So let me know if you want to go too.
You're going to Cherokee?
Going to one of those casinos in the corner of North Carolina that's close to Georgia. I think Harrah's is closest. That's probably where I'm going.
Yeah, Harrah's Cherokee Casino. It's
it's
a
the
little
same
like
thing.
an hour past Asheville.
Yeah. Going there sometime soon.
Word.
What prompted you to go there?
I am dying because I need live poker.
Okay, I understand. I get you.
I have no money.
It's like a
Didn't
6
stop
hour
you.
drive.
It's only 4.5 to 5, Josh. It's not that bad. It's 3.
I did a 6 hour
That was-
drive to
that was
Atlanta.
Blizzard
Also,
who- that was
I
Blizzard
could
who
definitely be
commented
convinced to
about
go
the
to
time.
Jacksonville. It's a further drive than that, but I could 100% go to Jacksonville again.
Yeah, Florida just opened up all the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'll hand it back over to Justin. I think it's round robin time.
That's all good. Yes, I think we had someone else join here. All right, guys. So we have a total of 8 people here, so we only need 1 table, which is nice. That is unless Rory and Warren join late, which we'll find out about. But anyways, yeah, no need to split into groups. The table is posted in VC text. I will add you guys in there. I think I've got everyone on the list. I'm just going to share my screen. Share there. Whoops. Did I get everybody on the list? Justin, Theodore, Jackson, Tim, Matt, Blizzard, Cole, Jake, Josh. I think we got y'all. So, okay. With that all said, I will see you guys over at the Poker Now link. All right.